We're getting closer to using this front 3-point hitch. Today we're going to work on making sure the underside of the tractor is ready for that. Well, while we're under there, let's do an oil service. We're going to do the oil change on the engine, the hydraulic oil change, everything that we were supposed to do at 50 hours. Now it's 104 hours. Oh well, let's get started. The oil fill hole's way down in there. So I think we probably will just take this side shield off. That'd be nice if that fill hole were exposed a little higher up so we could get to the cap. We could get a funnel in there if we could just reach the cap, right? It's just, I suppose we probably could reach that cap. Yeah, we want you to see it anyway, so we're going to take this side panel off. It's only 2 bolts. This is where I need the little power ratchet, Dave.
There are several places where you need said little power ratchet. If you buy one, you'll love it.
These are 10 millimeter. Easy enough. You know, we continually have a lot of people ask about our lift. It's a normal Challenger lift. There's nothing fancy about that. It's the turf rail that's unique. They call it a turf rail, singular. To me, it's 2 rails, but you can adjust the width to the wheelbase of your unit. And then these bars come off and your lift can be used just normally. This just makes it a lot easier to deal with the tractor. This is a little bit unique under here. We've got 2 oil drain plugs, and that's because the oil pan is specially formed above the drive shaft here. This gives us more ground clearance. Just attention to detail there. Yeah, it requires us to have 2 oil drains, but big deal. Look back here. This is something that I'm really happy with on this tractor. We've got skid plate. This comes from the factory, and then nothing else, right? So the only exposed area that we have is this area right here, and that presumably is to get to the oil pan. And later in this episode, we're going to try to take care of that. It's really nice to have the hot seat house. We were able to give this guy a rinse before we came in here. Yeah, we haven't got dust and dirt coming down all over us while we're doing the work. Dave, you got your best cowboy hat on.
I know. Try to avoid getting it dirty.
And so we do an oil change. That's...
Okay. This might get messy.
Axle's really easy to access until you put a front PTO on it.
Okay, while we're here, do we want to drain the trams?
Yeah, and we also need to grease the U-joints. We got to take this rear skid plate off to get to the U-joint under here to grease it, as well as to get to the hydraulic filter. The drain plug for the hydraulic oil is back here. The service interval on the hydraulics is different than the engine. The engine is first 50 hours and then every 200 hours. The hydraulic service is 50 hours and then every 300 hours, which it's nice to have a little longer service interval on this. It holds, I believe, 8 gallons. So yeah, that's fairly costly to change that much oil. Like I said, we're at 104 hours. So I'm a little late on the 50-hour change. I'm not too worried about that, honestly. That's, I mean, a 50-hour service interval, that seems quite frequent. Obviously, the reason they've done it early on is for break-in. But we're going to get to both of them here at 104. I think that'll be fine. David, that's not going as easy as what I thought it might. This one is almost out.
Yep. Well, it appears that this had both a nylock and Loctite.
Okay, well, it wasn't going to fall off. And now it's on the ground. Boy, it's hot.
Yeah.
The nylock and Loctite were working.
Okay, this nut's going to fall. Can you catch it?
No. Ouch. I can whack myself in the head.
Yeah, them turf rails need some protection.
Yeah. Okay, those are the shorter 2 screws. Looks like it's going to stay in there.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice, isn't it?
Well, so realizing that this is a shaft here that potentially could come loose, that's got a metal pipe in there rather than just being hose across there.
Yeah, and when they need to take this shaft out, they've got the disconnect here so that they can get to it.
Very, very thoughtful. There is a greasable U-joint up there, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be greasable.
We're gonna have to spin that around though.
Oh, way up there.
Yeah, way up there. Way, way up there.
Oh! The maintenance kit does not come with the hydraulic oil. Let's see what it does come with.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got the engine oil. 15W40 engine oil. 8 quarts. Here's the contents right here. This will be the engine oil filter, a fuel filter, another oil filter. This looks like the hydraulic oil filter under the one side there. Bigger hydraulic oil filter.
I keep being nervous for your hat.
So far so good. I haven't like adjusted it. So if it's not perfect, that's why.
Okay.
Because I don't intend to touch it until my hands are clean. Quick, for all my oil's gone.
I used grease, baby, grease. Lube shuttle.
So it eats the seal?
It'll be something wrong. I knew it'd be something wrong. This is a hydraulic oil filter. Now, the thing is, there's another hydraulic oil filter right here.
Low pressure versus high pressure?
1 versus 2, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I can see there's 2 of them. We'll replace them both.
They sent it in the kit, it's getting it, right?
Yeah. 727, 26.
I don't know what's in the second filter, but boy howdy is that thing heavy.
It's interesting how they're designed. They're tapered the way the O-ring is.
Well, that's got a very interesting face on it. Okay.
I officially have a headache now.
So you've hit your head 3 times already on the...
On the turf rail, yeah, this morning. Let her drop. Well, I didn't mean that one. That hit my heel. Okay, I got that one. You use the one you got.
Watch your head.
That's 4.
So most mechanics joke that everything's overbuilt by double. With the Yanmar, I believe it's overbuilt by triple, which is in no way, shape, or form a negative connotation. I actually rather enjoy it.
Now we're starting to work on the skid plate, and it comes with 2 brackets, and then the plate goes up against those brackets. Now, it was designed for a YT359, but one that didn't have the front PTO. So we've had to try to do a little remanufacturing. It may need a hammer finish.
So that bolt is in. We are touching there. We are touching there. If I go start smacking, we're going to be touching there.
Okay, take that bolt out.
Pull down.
Just put a little V in it right there. That's going to bring these back together.
I'm waiting for you to tell me when.
I know.
There.
When? And this is not going to be good because it's going to have brought these back together too far, but okay, I think we're going to have to bend outward here and then back inward up here, whether we want to or not, Dave.
I think that's going to make it too short.
Well, it's either that or rebuild the whole thing. So after we tried all that bending to see if we could get that to fit, it just wasn't tall enough. So what we've done is taken a little piece of 1/2-inch stock here. Remember, it's a 1/2-inch plate on each side of the frame that we had sticking out. So we've taken this 1/2-inch stock, cut the top off, put the 1/2-inch stock on, welded it all back together. So hopefully it's an inch wider overall. Let's see if it fits.
So currently what I'm seeing is
Just those two.
these spots here it hits. But if we, well, I guess if we cut that and then go up with it.
Okay, so here's our finished skid plate. It would have been perfect the way the dealer had made it, but they didn't know about our front 3-point hitch. In fact, we didn't know about it at the time they made it. And so we've did just a little bit more bending right here to make sure this is away from that four-wheel drive shaft, and hopefully to get those corners tucked in to where they don't catch grass and weeds up in there. But they're right above that rod there anyway, and I just don't see a lot of grass getting in there, but we'll see. I wanted this underside hardened for two reasons. The first reason is that it was so close to being hardened already. The back half already had a skid plate. This is already the sturdiest tractor on the bottom side that I got on the property, even before we added this extra skid plate. Now with this skid plate, it's pretty amazing for a compact tractor. That's reason number one. Reason number two is the first attachment we plan to try on the front 3-point hitch is a brush mulcher. Don't have it here yet. You'll have to stick with us, but we're thinking that that brush mulcher will be throwing brush under the tractor. We want to make sure that we're prepared for that.
Might just be hope for me yet.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Dave. Actually fetching a bucket before you just dump the oil on the ground.
Well, we are in the junk shop, so.
Yeah, the old shabby shop.
Oh, there you go. That's a heck of a name for it.
Shabby.
Yep, the old shabby shop.
The good news is it doesn't have much oil left.
Nope. Ooh.
No fitty?
This one says Yanmar. Just wanted to turn it till the numbers are right side up.
Now you've done one. Do you need a funnel?
Yeah, no, that might be okay.
Not too bad.
Nope.
There she goes. We got red now, Dave.
No, we've always had red, Tim. It's always been red.
Right. There's no deer oil mixed into this. None.
No more than an implement's gonna do.
Right. First time we hook it onto something, it's gonna be mixed.
That's why it's universal.
My battery's dead on my readout. Supposed to put 8 gallons in. And the only thing I know is that 8 gallons is more than 5. So we have a 5-gallon hooked up here. I know this first can's not going to be enough.
It's not too hard to get to.
It would be pretty hard to get to with a 5-gallon can. You'd have to use a long funnel and get it all the way up here. These 3 hydraulic valves are kind of in the way.
Right there is our sight glass. And if we can't figure out exactly 8 gallons, that'll at least give us a indication that we're doing okay.
I want to be a little more than halfway, maybe most of the way, because we got to fill those filters.
So you are 15/16.
Yeah.
I'd say go all the way to the top though.
You're in all the way to the top, guy?
Yeah, I'm on all the way to the top, guy. I want it filled. All right, I think that's good.
What'd you say, Dave? Triple built?
I said overbuilt by triple, and I think this confirms it.
So what we just discovered here is that we've got a screen that we can remove to clean for each part of the cooling package. So we've got a screen in front of the radiator, pull that. Actually, we got 2 separate ones there, right?
Yep. So I'll pull the top one currently. So this is our top screen for the radiator. If I pull this all the way out, you then lift up, and the second one comes out the same way. We've already cleaned those.
So that's the radiator. And now then we have the hydraulic oil cooler. So
this
that's
little
cute.
guy.
Yeah, so I'll clean that off a little bit. And thirdly, then we have the AC compressor. We've got yet another one in front of it.
Okay, so we're gonna pull this little 10mm nut out, bolt out. Try not to drop it. There you go. And then this baby just slides right out the side. I'll clean that for us real quick. I will say, I believe the only radiator on this thing that does not have a cover or a screen is the one that we installed for the, and it's about this big.
Well, that's the reason we have a little bit of a challenge even getting to this one, is because of that radiator we put on for the PTO.
Yeah. I'd say your fan moves a lot of air, Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell that. You know, here's another thing that's doubled up. 2 shocks to open the hood from different angles. Some of the others seem to have a lot of stress put on them when you're trying to open them or close them.
Nice little
Super nice.
latches.
Super, super nice. Okay.
It's nicely sealed. It's no wonder that it does a good job cooling.
Well, and even with the DPF in there, this still doesn't look like it'd be totally, there's a lot of heat shields, but they all just have nice accessible points to get them off. I don't
Yeah,
think
and all
this
the
thing can be-
electronics are right up here in front, easy to access.
Absolutely, very easy to
Perfect
access.
location. Sometimes you'd think it just looks like it's in the way, but it's not. It stays up out of the cooling system. It's just brilliant location.
Well, and this also needs some cooling as well, so the airflow is beneficial for it.
Now, it wanted me to lube this, but it looks like that's been lubed recently.
I'd say it's good.
You got the side piece back on.
Yep.
One more thing, we have to work on that U-joint between the engine and the transmission. Let's see if we can get in from the cab. So here's the floor plate that needs to come off. Pretty well identified, a whole bunch of bolts, but they're all the same size and easy to get to. Some nuts. Some nuts, some bolts. Look at that. One end of it's easy access. How about the other end? Well, there it is, sticking right up at us. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it feels like it's on there. Give it a little squeeze. Give it a squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. All right, she's coming out. All right, gonna do that for another 50 hours.
I even got my cab floor cleaned for free.
Via your shirt, right? A little bit of my shirt, a little bit of Christy's shirt. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, but that's your nice fancy Yanmar shirt. I wasn't gonna wear my fancy Yanmar shirt.
I'll
when we
throw
were having
some Gojo on it and it'll all be good.
We got our skid plate on.
Skid plate's on.
Hydraulic oil's changed.
Oil
the
and
lubes.
filters changed. Everything's lubed on it. I checked. Our fluids are good on both the trans and the engine. So
Yeah, and we learned some things too. I mean, this machine is well built.
and overbuilt and nicely overbuilt, and then it's easy to work on. Like it's not
Yep.
it's not that bad. Even the thing that we thought was going to be the worst thing to do. I mean, there's a giant access point.
We were dreading this. But there's plenty of room in there. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house, but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent struck that house, it collapsed, and its destruction was complete. Ooh.
Did you make a mess?
Get your camera away.
How on earth did you make a mess? Because the engineer needed to know if it was pumping?
I was trying to figure out a way to get it to hold the handle itself. I got tired of holding it, and it slipped out. So it turns out there was a zip tie on this thing already to hold the handle.
It was clean.
Hotsy can take care of that.